Hello everyone, this is Dr. Sri Banerjee, and in this video I will be talking a bit about Saturn and how Saturn plays a role in astrological charts. So for starters, Saturn is typically seen as more of a stable sort of planet. It has characteristics of a more cooling planet. Kronos is typically the mythological figure that is Kronos is the figure that is associated with Saturn. So Saturn can be designated by a specific pattern, and that is shown here. Let me show how Saturn is drawn. So if you look here, this is the planet. So in the transit, this is where Saturn is. And so what are you looking at here, if, just to orient you, the internal circle is comprised of my natal chart. And then so anything on the outside is the transit of what is currently occurring within the astrological signs. And so over here on the left, you can see here is the first house, and then following the patterns, the fourth, seventh, and then 10th. So, and then if you look at how the transits take place, and then so we can exit drawing, and then if you look at all the transits and how they take place, now we can change around how the outer circle is moving. So if we, right now, the outer circle is listed at the current date. But if we start moving backwards in years, then you can see how events in your life correspond to how Saturn moves. So in various traditions, for instance, in Vedic tradition, the point where Saturn transits the moon, this point is known as the part of the Sade Sati. And this happens three times, typically three times in a person's life, because Saturn takes 29 years to take one revolution around the skies. So this is a pattern that you typically remember when you're an astrologer. And so Saturn does that whether it's transiting the moon or it's transiting itself. So the distinction I'm making here is that when Saturn transits the moon, so let me see where I can, the year for that in my chart. So right now Saturn is pretty close to the moon. And actually, so about 2020 is where Saturn and the moon, as Saturn is transiting the moon, the natal moon. But then this is what is tracked in Vedic astrology as a significant time in a person's life. Now, if we go back and look at Western astrology, the Saturn return is a very important component. And typically, there have been a lot of books written on the Saturn return. So if you haven't read much about the subject, please do so. It's a time when there's more stability, more responsibility. And so if you look in a person's chart, typically it's 29. So in my chart, this was at a certain time. So you can see, you can change around the years and see when Saturn goes and transits specific planets. within your natal chart. And then if you compare certain events and then move into the next cycle, then you see similar patterns recur. And this is how astrologers do many of their readings. Thank you for listening.